Yeah, it was in Sicily, and there was I had this nightmare of this like man in my room who like approached the foot of my bed, and I woke up screaming, and he was a bald man, and that's important for the story because, yeah, John Grise, another actor from our show, I heard
This
him
was when you guys were filming
filming season 2. Yeah, we were in like the hotel used to be a convent, and then I heard him. I didn't tell anyone, and then I heard him like a week later being like, "Oh, I had a nightmare where there's this like bald man in my room who approached over my bed and like grabbed my legs," and I was like, the same thing happened to me. So that's actually like confirmed a ghost.
Will you tell me when you started getting the idea for this movie? And I did read in your director's notes that you mentioned kind of going down a rabbit hole about like different, like the Hotel Cecil disappearance and stuff like that. And that was something that was recognizable to me instantly in your searches. But
yeah, there's I went down the creepypasta rabbit hole, and it's scared me.
Explain to people who don't know about creepypasta.
Yeah, it's just online forums. Someone posts a story that you don't know if it's true or not, and then it turns into a thread, and then it becomes like an online urban legend. And then sometimes it's based on an actual event, and the people are debating whether or not there was like a paranormal aspect to it, like Eliza Lamb, the Cecil Hotel, where she ended up in the water tank, and people were saying like, oh, I used to work there, and that water tank was locked, right? And then stuff like that, and I don't know. And then I get scared when I read these things, and so I figured in a movie we could probably play with that, and it would be a scary movie.
And then how did you come up with the concept for the way you were going to tell this story?
Yeah, it started off as a radio play, so it was going to be a found footage audio experience, and then I asked myself what Evie would do in between recording, and then I came up with that. Well, it's a long story, but it's I came up with a story parallel to the recordings, hopping back and forth, and Undertone.
And then how did you cast Nina? What was the?
Well, we offered Nina because it was our producer, Cody Fallon. Only offers from now on. Cody worked with Nina and recommended her, and then when we met, we knew because we saw a sign, or I saw a big sign. Yeah, there was a. I wrote the movie about my experience caregiving my mom, and I brought her. When I brought her to the hospital, she was wearing one piece of jewelry, which is like a plain pinky ring, and it was the last piece of jewelry she ever wore. Now all I see with Nina is like just one piece of jewelry, is pinky ring, and I took that as a sign. I was like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, now I have other ones for the day, but normally this is the only thing I wear.
So that 5 years ago today is when I took my mom to the hospital, and 1 year ago today is when I met Nina. Yeah.
What was did you say yes right away, or did you and are you easily scared?
No, I'm not that easily scared. It depends. Like this type of movie does scare me. It's more psychological, but I read it alone on a Friday night exactly a year ago. Or would it be a year ago yesterday?
No, today is when you read it.
And then the next day is when
tomorrow is when we did the Zoom. But when I brought my mom to the hospital, it was like 2 days because I brought her on the
24th.
On the 24th, and then I stayed with her the whole night, and then the next day. So it was like so now when we do the premiere, it's the same thing. Now it's like I'm going into the 25th, which is when I met you, the 25th.
Wow.
Which is also Steven Shiner's birthday.
I was really creeped out by the script. And there's something about a claustrophobia of not leaving the character or the environment that was very unsettling to me. It like puts you in a situation where like looking around and thinking maybe something's gonna happen to you, or staying with someone the whole time and staying in one place the whole time just really makes me feel like tension is rising in my body, and I really, really, I loved it. It was so good. Even reading it like the first time.
Mhm.
So are you not scared of that kind of stuff anymore?
I like being scared of it sometimes, but sometimes I don't. Depends.
Adam, what's your level of comfort with like scary stuff, paranormal, etc.?
Like in movie form or in real life form? Because real life form, I'm like, no, I'm not gonna like enter an abandoned building or whatever. I'm just like always err on the side of caution there. But like, I love to explore a fictionalized version, from the safety of a movie theater or my couch. Yeah,
Are you often like in a situation where you might enter an abandoned building that you have to decide
it's been
not
happening a lot more lately for some reason as you get older. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, and because you're not, how did you film this? Like, were you doing voiceover? Were you like on, like, yeah,
We had
that?
2 days on set. I say set, but it was Ian's house.
Yeah.
By the way, I didn't know we were supposed to take our shoes off.
No,
I
no,
learned that earlier today.
no, we
I'm
weren't
really sorry
supposed
about
to.
that.
No, we weren't supposed to.
And I was in his childhood bedroom, and we had a live. I had a live monitor to see Nina, but she couldn't see me, which was kind of fun, and not in a weird way. But we were able to kind of ad lib and improvise that way, which was really nice. And then I had a couple days in a booth, sound booth alone, just to get pickups and just go through the whole thing from top to bottom a couple of times. And yeah, it was really cool to do it on location. I felt like it added a lot. And yeah.
Were you, because you mentioned like the tension rising and on you. Do you mean that when you were reading the script, or that's what you were feeling when you were making the movie?
No, I think I wouldn't be able to have the freedom of doing a scene if I was not well, like, emotionally. So I didn't feel that way while we were making it, but I did feel that way when I read it and then when I watched it for the first time. There were moments where I started to get a little like, it wasn't creeped out. It was just emotionally exhausted, but it was such a small space that I could just, they were like, hey, we have to go do something. I'm like, okay, I'm going into my safety room, which is the room where you had your first paranormal.
Yeah, I had my first paranormal.
And that was your safety room. What was the paranormal experience?
The radio.
It was the radio. The radio turned on by itself. Well, I was like lying. I woke up in the middle of the night, couldn't go back to sleep. And usually I'm thinking like when I was a kid, I was always thinking, I hope I don't see a ghost. And then the radio just turned on full blast, playing "Don't Worry, Be Happy," and then and then I ran into my parents' room. That was the first thing that happened in my house. Then other things happened.
Did you feel anything when you were in there?
No, it was a different vibe when I was in there, to be honest. And like, I think you can either be open to that when it's a situation where you can be, like when you have the capacity, and then sometimes you just don't, and you're like, I just need to take care of myself so that I can go and do more. And then, like, I need to be able to go somewhere safe. Remember you told me I had my first, and I was like, yeah, I can't. Like, I was like, don't tell me.
I remember.
You left. You were like, no, I'm not going to talk about this right now, because I was like, I can't. Like, I'm not physically able to take in that level of I just need to be like grounded right now and focus on rest when I'm in this space so that I can keep going every day.
Have either of you, either since making the movie or just in general, had ghost sightings, paranormal, anything?
Yeah, I was saying earlier that I have seen a ghost. In fact, I have seen a ghost, and it's true, and I can tell it actually happened because I was staying in this hotel, and yeah, I was in Sicily, and there was I had this nightmare of this like man in my room who like approached the foot of my bed, and I woke up screaming, and he was a bald man, and that's important for the story because yeah, John Gry's another actor from our show.
This was when you guys were filming Lotus.
Season 2, yeah, we were in like the hotel used to be a convent, and then I heard him. I didn't tell anyone, and then I heard him like a week later being like, "Oh, I had a nightmare where there's this like bald man in my room who approached over my bed and like grabbed my legs," and I was like, the same thing happened to me. So that's actually like confirmed a ghost.
You're gonna be interested in this. Nina, what did I ask you? What would you do for this role in the sci-fi horror? remember I asked you, would you
Yes.
what?
Shave my head.
Would you shave your head? I wrote a scene I'm writing a sci-fi horror, and I had Nina in mind for this scene where your head is shaved and a ghost or something approaches the foot of your bed, and the thing is just smiling, and you could hear laughter, but it's not coming from that thing. Was your guy smiling?
Still answer that question.
I think he was kind of like annoyed that I could like see him. Like he was kind of pissed off. Yeah.
Did you guys tell more people after he said that?
Yeah.
Like, is that a thing
Yeah,
where it's like you have to
yeah.
tell HBO,
Can't-
like, hey,
yeah,
we
yeah.
are being haunted, just an
Yeah.
FYI.
Just I do want to stay in the Four Seasons, but there is a ghost here. Yeah. Yeah.
Four Seasons Sicily.
Did you say yes to being open to shaving your head?
I did.
Yeah, what's
I have a
really
great. Well, I'll get you to. You can touch my head later. But it's a
good
great
shape. Yeah.
Shape. So
Wow, and it really worked out well for Emma Stone.
Oh, right.
Head, so
Natalie Portman's Shaved Head is a band that I used to listen to.
there's a good legacy.
It's a lot.
Okay, we have a couple questions. I'm asking everyone who comes in. Did anyone here have a good job backup plan if Hollywood didn't work out? Or like, do you still what would you do?
My degree is in international relations, so maybe like public policy. But I don't know anything now.
That was years ago.
I didn't have one, so I had to make it. So that's what I kept telling myself. If this doesn't work, I had no plan after that.
Yeah. I dropped out of university and then I studied acting. I gave myself like I guess 10 years to
What happened on year 10?
2020 pandemic. So I'm like give myself 1 or 2 more years extra. Yeah. Yeah, and then we'll see.
What were you did you have a major before you
I was studying like life sciences. I didn't really enjoy it. The only thing I liked was like psychology, and I guess that kind of applies to acting a little bit. Maybe something in psychology or social work or something. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, and another question I've been asking everyone, although I asked it to Charlie XCX yesterday and she told me that this question is out, which is what are your ins and outs for 2026? Her answer was ins and outs. But I'm going to keep going with the question. I'm going to power through even though. But what for you guys? Like, what are you sick of? Like, what are you done with this year? What are you trying to get more of?
What's I don't like saying anything's out. You gotta want to exclude anyone if they're into something.
yeah,
But I
but-
think because of like I'm Canadian and I've always been into hockey, but now with like the rivalry, I think hockey is like very in, and I think it wasn't Inside Out 2 wasn't I didn't see it, but wasn't she like a hockey player? And
Do you have a team?
hockey is my team, Toronto Maple Leafs.
Okay.
Unfortunately, yeah. What about you?
Being somewhere in real life as opposed to online.
Online's out.
Yeah,
Life is
someone did say just the internet.
yeah.
That's a good way.
Yeah.
I hope that happens.
It might.
More presence.
Yeah.
I definitely think that indie film is in now. It's the
A24 is in.
the 90s.
Now you're
indie film. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, Hollywood film is still gonna be here. I'm like Adam. There's nothing out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's try and be nice.
But it's also okay to
Life
say
is
that
hard.
internet or phones or
right.
yeah,
Okay.
that's fair. I like the hockey. That one's a good one.
Yeah. That's
The Toronto Maple Leafs might be out. I don't know. Are they?
Been out
Based judging by
since
your reaction,
1963,
unfortunately.
53, yeah.
oh,
87.
that's okay, Adam.